On a different topic, all of this has to be emotionally exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
What, if anything, has this campaign cost you personally?
Wait, say it one more time?
So this has to be emotionally exhausting, just running for governor. So I'm just saying, has it cost you anything personally?
Has it cost me anything?
Besides sleep? I'm sure you don't sleep that much.
Because of the timing of the campaign getting its money, I'm owed a lot of money by the campaign.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because there are, we have to make payroll, and we have to make sure ads are getting out there. So I've been eating some of the costs for the short term with recognition that I will get paid back by the campaign.
That's commitment, though.
It's commitment.
Because I know you're not a billionaire.
No, I'm not. And it costs time. And if you are going to do something like this seriously, and you are committing to it, you are committing a big part of your life. And just thinking about how you spend your time. You can spend it selfishly on yourself, you can spend it with friends, you can spend it with loved ones. I would say this last year, my time with friends has dropped precipitously. I have seen the way that politics can consume people, and you have to really prioritize what relationships are important to you. So you really winnow down the people, the time that you spend with people around you that fill your cup. And so you have to prioritize. So making sure that I get a date night in with my partner at least once a week and really carving out that time at least once a week. Trying to also recognize that I'm not a machine, I'm not a robot. And while quantity is good, you have to have quality. I believe in the oxygen mask theory, which is that I can only bring to this work energy after I've fully restored myself. But being really honest in terms of how much you need, both ways, in terms of is it enough or is it too much? And being able to make sure that, once every couple weeks I see a friend.
Like me.
Yes, and having those relationships in place is really, really important. And just being very thoughtful about that and very objective about what your energy levels are. And I remember when I ran for a bigger seat 4 years ago, and I was running for about 8 months. I didn't make it onto the ballot, thank God. But even that was the next 6 weeks after that process. It was a very deep sort of emotional hole, and I always think of it and describe it as Wile E. Coyote running off the cliff and just not realizing there's nothing under him. And then all of a sudden you just go, and you just get sucked back down. And so I've been really intentional of trying to not have that happen. And so I'm still very much in the middle of all of this, but I will say the drive to get on the ballot and the drive to raise the money was a very specific thing and took a very specific amount of emotional energy. And now that we've swiveled to the full statewide campaign, in a sense, it's actually gotten easier. There's far fewer asks that I am making. There's far less strategy in terms of how to get to where, because for the first 6 months, a lot of this campaign was just me.
Right.
Everything was me. The relationships with the chairs, the relationships with the delegates, because there was no money to spend on anybody. And we had little bits and pieces. And then slowly starting in December, January, being able to gradually build out the team. And now the way I envision it is that it's the Sisyphean task of pushing that boulder up the hill. And it's just you. And you can rest, but if you're resting, you're keeping that boulder in place. And you're just moving and moving and moving. Now I feel like I can take rests and the boulder will continue to move up the hill. It's not gonna roll back down. And so that feels really nice, where I can continue to sort of optimize on my own time, figure out what is the best way to spend my time, thinking about it in terms of this mentality when you're running your own business, that you should be working on your business, not in your business.
You say that all the time in
Yes.
your telegram.
Yes. So for me, with the campaign, when you're first starting, you are working on it, you are working in it, you're doing everything. And then eventually you can figure out what you can give to other people and you can start delegating. And now it's at a point where I'm consistently able to take things off my plate that I don't want to do, that I'm not good at, that I don't have the time for. and I can just continue to keep my head above water and make sure that when it comes down to it, the most important thing to me is that we're responsive. When people reach out, they want to volunteer, they have a question, they have a complaint, concern, whatever, that whenever anybody interacts with the campaign, this is a matter of importance and pride to me that we are being responsive to everybody. So even when we send out these massive texts to thousands and thousands of people, what people don't know when they respond to an email or they respond to a text, they should always be getting a response back from us. And we've done a pretty good job, where usually it's like, it's just a one-way communication. Right. You get something from the campaign, that's it. I try to make sure that every time we're being really responsive, because that's the mentality that I want to bring to government, because I know that there's been a loss of faith in what government can and can't do. And a lot of that is just the fact that we don't communicate well enough.
And that's one of the things I like about you too, is that you're very accessible, and so is everybody on your team. You've come to my fundraising events. I do a lot for veterans. What can Connecticut do better for veterans? As you know, I'm very passionate about, I know this is more of the federal level, but I'm sure there's things we can do here as well. Especially for our older veterans, I think that the process that it takes for them to get their service-connected benefits is horrendously difficult, and it shouldn't be. And if you look at people like my dad, who's 81, he's suffering from Agent Orange. When you get something that the VA medical doctors say, yes, it's due to Agent Orange, well, we still need to have somebody else look at it, and then they deny it, and you have to go to a higher review. What can we do? What can you realistically do to uncomplicate the process and make it easier for veterans at every level, but especially the older ones?
Yeah. I mean, some of this is the sussing out of what is the federal government's responsibility versus the state level responsibility, and my feeling is just being responsive and helping people work through the resources that already exist. I find that regardless of whether somebody's a veteran, when somebody's in need, that people don't know that they should be reaching out to their representative or their senator or their congressperson or even their alderman or city council person. That our roles are to connect people with resources that already exist. Then once you do that, there are times when that's even not good enough. That the resource that exists, that they send you in circles. And then it's about learning about where people are getting hung up. And so I think of here in the state, when you have DSS or DMS or people being on the phone for a half hour or hours, and then they get hung up on, or they're not getting whatever resource that they need. And certainly with the VA and with the pulling back of resources from the federal administration, it's a matter of making sure that the resources exist and the resources are there. And we can just sort of throw up our hands and say, well, this is the way that government works, but I just don't believe in that. That just feels like a mentality of learned helplessness.
I agree.
And I just think that every time I hear a story, it's just one more thing in my head. It's like, all right, we need to resolve this. Because everything to me is systems. What are the systems that are in place?
You should work at Keller Williams, because that's all that we talk about.
Yeah.
If you're listening, that's true.
Yeah.
But systems are important,
Well, systems are important because they generally get you to better outcomes. If you're an outcome thinker or processor, you don't necessarily get the best outcome. And you certainly don't get the best process. And even on this campaign or with the business, I'm always thinking process. What are the problems that came up? What are we doing to resolve it? What are we doing to make it routine that these problems get resolved in the future? Because the rule is you're always going to have problems.
Right.
My issue is that I don't want to be solving the same problem over and over.
Right.
I want to be solving new problems,
right,
because there's always new stuff to be dealing with. And it just feels like sometimes with government, like what we'd be dealing with your dad or people who are have served their country, is these are some of the people who I don't want to say deserve more than others, because everybody deserves to be taken care of. But the sacrifice that some people make is certainly more than others. And what are we doing to acknowledge and represent that in the way that we treat people? I think the answer is not enough right now. And so it's just the first, you have to acknowledge that we are feeling people.
Well, thank you for saying that, because that means a lot, because it really breaks my heart, as you know.
Yeah.
That's a whole another conversation. But anyway, what's a belief that you've changed your mind about in the last 5 years, and what caused you to change?
So I remember a decade ago when I was working on the Bernie Sanders campaign, and I was a super volunteer. I just opened the business a couple years ago, and I started getting back involved in politics again. And I would see massive groups of people come out to these rallies, and then they would just go home. And as somebody who was making telephone calls regularly, was knocking doors regularly, really sinking my time and energy into that campaign, walked away being very frustrated, feeling like this mass mobilization of people that just show up to an event is wasted energy. After Minnesota and seeing how peaceful protesters were murdered on the side of the street, and the way that California and Minnesota and there were other states, but those are the two that I can really think of as being visual. That mass mobilization is what moved the course of ICE and Border Patrol sending more and more people. It was people being willing to sacrifice their bodies for something bigger, and that energy expanding, and the recognition for people that weren't engaged, seeing these things from their TV screens, recognizing that the things that they were feeling were valid, that there were other people that also felt the way that they felt. And so it's that validative component of mass mobilization that I do think is powerful and important. So I have done mostly a 180 to say that there is still value in just showing up. Maybe you're not going to be the person that does a bunch of phone calls and knocks a bunch of doors in a campaign environment and setting, but just the continuity of the No Kings rallies, or people being on their corners with signs, where I used to feel like that's not a great use of energy. Now I feel like there's a place for all of it. And even just being in the legislature, there's this sense that it's the elected officials that do the work, but it's everybody that does the work. I might go in and press a button, but it is the advocates that push issues, and that when they take compromise, they come back to push. There's always next year, but you got to go as far as you can. And the activists and the campaign staff and the staff at the Capitol, both partisan and nonpartisan, and the lobbyists, really the whole ecosystem, everybody has a part to play that I didn't truly recognize a decade ago. And now I have a much better understanding that there's not one more important than the other. We all play different parts, but we're all an important part of the ecosystem of making cultural change.
So that's growth. It's an important part of growth. Tell me about a political mistake you've made and what you've learned from it.
A political mistake, and this is a hit from the Neds campaign. I'm always happy to talk about it, but I slept through a vote. This happened about 6 years ago. I've taken thousands and thousands of votes, so if you think about it, one vote's not the end of the world. But
hang on, so you fell asleep while they were talking about it, or you just?
I went home. I have dogs, and so there was a vote that was taken at 7 in the morning and 9 in the morning. 7 was for an amendment, 9 was for the underlying vote. I missed the 7 o'clock, made it back for the 9 o'clock. I left around 4, and in my addled state was like, I'm just gonna lie down. There was a recognition that was, for me, just deeply unprofessional, and just not being able to forecast out the support system that I would need. I wasn't living with somebody at the time. I was worried that my dog wasn't going to get fed in the morning. And still, there's no excuse for me just not being there for what was a really important vote. This was for qualified immunity for the police brutality bill, police accountability bill. And I regret that. And so that's a thing that I still carry with me, and I just try to learn my lesson from it, and just to make sure I'm better prepared in the future for both consequential and less consequential bills. So just being more thoughtful in the future.
That's being human, though. I mean, if you go asleep and you're tired, I get it, but I think it takes. And again, I give you credit for at least taking credit for that. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
As long as you're learning from it.
Yeah.
Okay. If one of your closest advisors strongly disagreed with you, how would you decide who was right?
I don't believe there's really often an objective truth. Sometimes there is, but not always. And expect the people around me to push back. Not to push back for the sake of pushing back,
but just to challenge you
but
a
to
little.
push
Right.
back if they have alternate views.
That's healthy for democracy.
I think you need it, and I think that if you can't defend your position, maybe it's not a strong position, and you can't really be making decisions just based on vibe and gut alone. You really need to back things up. I do think that you need one decision maker in entities and organizations, and I think that that decision maker is best served by having diverse voices around them. I think there's a recognition that you can be sure that you're right, and if everybody's telling you that's wrong, that more often than not you should be listening to the people around you. That I think it's in terms of both whether or not you're really right, even if like you feel like you're right, because we all think that whatever's in our head is right, but then we can look back 5 years and say, boy, a bunch of that stuff was wrong. And just remembering that every single time that you're sure that you're right, that you are fallible, that you are human, and so being able to allow yourself to do something that you don't think is right when your team is telling you one thing. There are times when I will still do a thing when my team says, this is not going to be helpful, you don't do this. And I have found success in knowing when my team is undervaluing or overvaluing certain information and being able to hear what they're saying and still evaluate and do different things, which is why I've raised the money in a way that was very different than anybody else ever and was able to get in the ballot using my own political understanding of our state. So there were things that I feel very strongly about. And then you also have to think about the team dynamics, where if you are always asking your team for input and then always ignoring them, well, they're going to stop giving you input. And if you get defensive and you don't allow someone to make their point known, they will stop fighting back against you. And then they will eventually just not want to be part of the team and not actually be giving their full and best effort. And so there is a bit of that too, and knowing when to have that sense of when you need to give a little bit as a leader as well, because there's a lot of ego that can come in where you can say to yourself, well, I have final say. And sure, you do, but it doesn't mean that you need to make it all about you all the time, because it can't be about you all the time, because the only way that you're going to get success, and I've been saying this a lot recently, is if everybody's rowing in the same direction. And so to be able to get everybody working together, because if you as a leader are going to be ignoring your people, they're going to also be subconsciously then working against you, and you don't want that either. And so you have to always be sort of fine-tuning your relationship with your trusted advisors, the people around you, but also being able to not let that hold you back at the same time and lead in a way that that then gets people on board to then trust your judgment when you do have to make harder conversations and decisions. So there's no right answer, ultimately.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so for voters who are still undecided, what's your 30-second case for why they should vote for you?
We need to fix our tax system, and we need to do this not because of class resentment, but because a system doesn't work when you're not making investments. And right now, because the ultra-wealthy are paying less than half of what working families pay, and people are doing everything right and still struggling, and we have somebody who comes from immeasurable wealth who will just never see the world this way and is unwilling to make the corrective changes that we need to make, the time is now. We don't really have 3-term governors. This is somebody who wants a 3rd term, doesn't really know what they want to do, and doesn't see the problems that the rest of us see. So this is a truly competitive race, and I've proven myself by getting on the ballot, making the money. Now it's to make sure we actually win in August.
And you will.
And we
I'm
will.
confident. So what legacy would you like to leave when you're elected? When people think about Josh Elliott, what would you like them to think of?
I would like people's lives to just be a little bit easier. That's it. That's the metric.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if there was a 10-year-old child who sees this interview and says, Mom, who is Josh Elliott? What would you want them to walk away thinking about you personally and politically?
Somebody who can diagnose a problem and then have that sense of empowerment to go out and fix it. You know, there's not a lot of people that are challenging the governor right now in the Democratic Party. I'm the person. I've heard over the course of years and years and years, people grumbling and frustrated about what they see. And then I'm seeing how people don't make that next step to be part of what needs to be foundational and fundamental change in terms of the way our systems work, in terms of having the amount of a broken system for healthcare and insurance and provider industry, where we have market failures, where we have people spending more money on energy than they've ever spent before. Again, with all the struggling, what I would love to see is just more people being empowered to do good work. I've heard it said, and I say this often, is that empowered people empower people, and the work is hard. And most of the time, the vast majority of the time, people will tell you you can't do it. They will not take you seriously. And you have to recognize that that is them through their own prism, through their own life experiences, through their own traumas, have learned that you don't always get a win. And for a lot of people, that means don't try because it's too hard. And for what that means to me is learn. Every time learn. Every time you fail, learn. When you succeed, you can learn, but you learn way more from your failures. And there's a quote that I abide by.
Fail forward. Yeah.
Fail forward. It's a Winston Churchill quote, and it's, success is jumping from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. And so what I would love to see is a world of more empowered people who see the problem, recognize that there is only difficulty to getting to the solution, and that's okay, to be ready, willing, and able to accept those difficulties.
Very well said. What Connecticut town do you think deserves more attention?
More attention? Bridgeport. Bridgeport needs more attention. And in terms of where it is geographically, and in terms of the investments that our state has made in Bridgeport, I think that, that city could really be something different than what it is now. It's a great place now. I think that there needs to be significantly more investment and love for Bridgeport.
Okay, fair enough. What gives you the most hope?
What gives me the most hope is that I think the potential for change is great, and I think that right now where we are, there was maybe a sense of despair a year ago, but I think that humans are resilient. On the other side of that coin, I feel like we often wait way too long to address problems that we should be addressing earlier. At the same time, we do at some point begin to address the problems that we have. And I think that we are seeing problems with the way our democracy works, and that we've sort of lost control of what it means to build a strong economy, a fair economy where people are treated well and equitably. And I think that people are beginning to be more aware of those inequities.
Okay, cool. Who do you call for advice? In general, your mom, girlfriend, the dog?
I go to Jen for advice, certainly. I don't really go to a lot of people for advice. It depends on what the thing is. If I don't know about something at all, I will generally try to go to somebody who I know knows a ton about it to shortcut going from zero to something. And then I spend a lot of time to just learn about it, because what I recognize is that nobody really knows anything.
Very true.
And once you really understand that nobody really knows anything, then you give yourself permission to just relentlessly learn and try to become well-read in the field in your own right. And whether we're talking about housing policy or energy policy or politics generally, it's always good to get a diversity of opinions so you have more to work with in your head. But I don't really have tried and true people to go to for advice, which is probably not good, but
that's okay.
I'm aware of it.
All right, coffee or tea?
Coffee drinker.
Early bird or night owl?
That's been changing, and I don't love it. If I could, perfect is 12 to 8, but it's been 11:30 to 6:30.
Oh wow.
Which I don't love. But I wake up with mission, and so I think once the campaign ends, I'll hopefully be able to go back to my normal 12 to 8, but at least for now, it's wake up early and then just try to truck through as much work as possible and leave no thread unattended to. because I can continue pushing things out to a really driven team, especially with both business and the politics. And it's just like, all right, I need to get things out of my brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the last TV show you binge watched?
The Chair Company.
Oh my God, I love that show.
So insane.
It's crazy.
So
Not a lot
insane.
of people. Okay, cool.
So good.
Mountains or beach?
Forest. We'll say mountains to answer the question.
Pizza or lobster rolls?
I mean pizza, but I mean lobster rolls are special. That's like a dessert to me. It's not like a regular thing, but we'll go with pizza.
Okay. Text or phone calls?
Oh, text all the way.
I know the answer to this. Suit and tie or jeans?
Jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What quality do you most admire in other people?
I admire the quality that I aspire to adopt and embody, and that is self-awareness.
What question do you wish reporters asked you more often?
I wish we could spend more time on policy. It's just not as interesting. And I recognize that people really care about palace intrigue and horse race politics. And I think it's what's made this campaign successful, is I've really just allowed myself to tap into that and allow myself to bring people into the campaign and have it be less about like this sort of veneer between people in the campaign, and just be really honest about where we are, even if that at the beginning meant that I wasn't coming off as a really strong competitor, because I was just honest about the difficulty of where it was. And I was just like, it can be difficult and you can just keep on moving forward. And eventually, the thing just snowballs. I think that there's a real sense for politics of having to present in a certain way, feeling as though you can't be different than other people and you have to do these things the same way over and over. So it would be nice if we could be always focusing more on policy, but that's just not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, we did a lot of focusing on policy today.
Yeah.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think Connecticut's residents need to hear? Like what success for Connecticut means to you?
So success just ends up having a fair tax code. There's only so much that the government can really do. We can't solve every single problem, but we shouldn't be making problems worse. And the problem of monopolization, of this massive and growing divide between the ultra wealthy and capital owners and everybody else, when we know we have created an economy that works for a much greater number of people in the middle to late 20th century, this idea that we can't do that again is just something that we've allowed ourselves to fall into. It's just not accurate. So I would love people to have a greater sense of hope and optimism that we can create that system again.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. I know you're really, really busy, and I hope that you guys have gotten to know Josh a little bit. And I will see you in the governor's mansion.
Yes.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, high five.
All right. We have 4 more weeks.
Yes, we're going to do this.